I swear I will not kill anyone.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why? Come with me if you want to live.
Alright, so disclaimer before this one. You're going to have to forgive me if this runs a little long. I have a lot on this, so I love this movie. So I'm jumping right in. Here it is, Terminator 2, Judgment Day from 1991. I am going to be covering the extended director's cut. Now, the original movie, the theatrical cut, is 2 hours and 17 minutes. This is a very long 2 hours and 36 minutes. I'm also going to be discussing the new scenes that are thrown in to this movie. Some of them really should not have been cut. It fleshes out the story so much more. So I'm going to go into it. It's directed by James Cameron, of course, because James Cameron is the man. Bring my mic closer so you can hear me. I know it made some sounds. Written by James Cameron and William Wisher. Our cast is, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800 Cyberdyne System Model 101. You know, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this is one of those times where a lot of people think that Arnold Schwarzenegger cannot act, and they have to watch this movie because he plays a cyborg, and he plays a cyborg very well. And the ending, especially, is just wow. That's another thing. The ending is different in this version. It's much different. I'm going to talk about both endings. We have Edward Furlong as John Connor, the teen heartthrob. To me, it's a travesty that he did not become bigger in life. He really didn't go on to do anything else. This is his very first movie, and he was in Pet Sematary 2. He was in one of the Crow movies. He did a lot of B movies after this, but in my opinion, he could have been a huge star. He just didn't make it. We have Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor in her huge arc where she's no longer a girl next door waitress. She is an all-out badass. Awesome. She's also very emotional and vulnerable, which is very cool. Very great actors here. Our antagonist is, in my opinion, one of the greatest antagonists in the history of cinema. The T-1000, played by Robert Patrick. Robert Patrick, I love this dude so very much. He is so good in this movie. He's good in almost anything he does. Just, God, he is so awesome in this. I've got some honorable mentions. We have Joe Morton, who plays Miles Dyson. And I want to speak on this for a second. This may be a little out of my league, out of my pocket here, but to me, anyone who wants to write an organic African American role needs to watch this movie, because Joe Morton, and they need to watch the director's cut, because Joe Morton is the definition of a great organic black character. He's intelligent. There's no stereotypes whatsoever on him. He is just a human being. And if you want to write an organic African American character, that's what you need. You need a human being. And he is human. And he is so good in this. He's only in the movie for maybe 20 minutes, and he has one of the best arcs in the movie, going from workaholic scientist to discovering that he invents the thing that kills humanity to the scientist that has to destroy his own work, and it's beautiful. We also have Silberman. He's back. Played by Ed Bowen. He is, Ed Bowen. He's just a piece of crap. He's still a piece of crap. And I love this actor because he plays a piece of crap really, really well. Good on you, dude. Love it. I'm not gonna put a picture up, but in the director's cut, Michael Biehn is in this movie. Michael Biehn has a scene, and it's a scene that I really don't think should have been cut. There are several that I'll talk about that just they should have been left in, but they are left in right here. So let's get into some facts here. There's several sets of twins in this movie, which is really cool. The first set we see is when we see the security guard who gets the cup that has "Go to Full House," and then the T-1000 hits him with the spike right in the eye. That's a set of twins, and they sing. You're like, I know them from somewhere. It's because here they are, the set of twins, and they were in Gremlins 2. They played the twin scientists in Gremlins 2 that had Gizmo dancing, and it's very cool. So they're in that. They said twins. There is another set of twins, one that not a lot of people realize. At the end of the movie, when the T-1000 is chasing Sarah and John, he becomes Sarah. And you see the scene when Sarah is calling for John. She's like, John, John. And then Sarah comes up from behind two Sarahs, with a shotgun. And, of course, John's like, oh, my God. And he runs away. That is Linda Hamilton's twin sister, Leslie. So, yeah, she has a twin sister. And she's in the movie, which is very cool. She plays fake Sarah. Another one was Robert Patrick was not the original person to play this role. Whenever James Cameron wrote this movie and did the storyboards, he had someone in mind, and that person was Billy Idol. He wanted Billy Idol to play T-1000. The thing was, Billy Idol had a motorcycle wreck, and he couldn't do the stunts. So they were going through a casting, and then James Cameron had another idea. Let's have Michael Biehn play the T-1000 and have the storyline be that the cyborgs, the Cyberdyne system, Skynet, got the ability to create a T-1000 that could be anybody, and they use Michael Biehn or Kyle Reese's likeness to get closer to Sarah Connor. But they chose not to do that because they thought it would be confusing to the audience. So they cut that out. Instead, we got Robert Patrick, which I'm very happy for. I'm very glad that they went with Robert Patrick. The T2 idea was actually the original plot for Terminator 1, where we have a cyborg sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor and a cyborg sent back in time to save Sarah Connor. But instead, they went with a human and a cyborg. So this is actually Terminator 1. We have, and there's another one this one I knew beforehand, but I want to share it with you anyway because I find it to be really funny. For people who grew up in the 90s especially, there was a band called Filter. If you don't know Filter, they did a song called Hey Man Nice Shot. If you don't know Hey Man Nice Shot, you really should look it up because it's very popular in the 90s. It was actually about I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny, but it's actually about the anchor woman who shot herself live on air. She was going through some stuff and she actually committed suicide live on the news. That's why I say Hey Man Nice Shot by Filter. And the reason why I mention that is because Robert Patrick is the older brother of the lead singer of Filter. So there's your little nugget that you might not know, especially if you're not a music person. But, okay, let's get right to the movie because I'm telling you this is going to be long. I'm going to try to speed through it. So, you have the opening with the narration, which is August 29th, 1997, 2 billion lives, or 4 billion lives, whatever it was. Ended, and she gives this very stoic narration. It's almost like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, and it's really good. It's a really great opening. And then you get the Terminator, who comes in naked, goes into the bar, steals some clothes. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. And he's like, let you take the man's wheels, son. Takes the shotgun away from him, gets the glasses. They play Bad to the Bone. It's a good introduction to the character. The T-1000 is not as cool. He just comes up, punches some dude in the gut, and like drives away. That's his. And I had someone watch it with me one time. They're like, "Oh, well, they did that, so so you think that the T-1000 is a good guy? Is like he did. You think he's human? They think they're rehashing it, and that's not the case, because if you actually listen to the background music, you know who the good guy and the bad guy is. They play Bad to the Bone for the T-800, and they play the bad guy music for the T-1000. That the cello music in the background, they play that in the background, so he's the baddie. And plus, with the trailers and everything, that one of the cyborgs is made of liquid metal, and yeah, it was never any hidden thing. So it was like you knew who the bad guy was, but it was all right. But and if you actually, there's another actress in here that I forgot to mention, because it reminded me, because we get to meet John Connor, and John is a little punk living with his foster parents. Clearly he's not had the greatest life, because his mom tried to blow up a computer system and got arrested and got shot. So he's have to live with foster parents, and the foster mom is the chick from Aliens. She's the badass chick from Aliens, She has the famous scene with Bill Paxton where she's doing pull-up or chin-ups, and Bill Paxton says, "Hey, have you ever been mistaken for a woman?" And she looks at him and says, "Yeah, have you? Or have you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she says, "Oh yeah, have you?" I'm like, yeah, that's very... So she's awesome. So we got another character that moves on to Aliens. Very cool. But we do go back, and then we go to Sarah. She's the last one we meet in this one, and she's in the psychiatric hospital working out, doing her push-ups or chin-ups in her room. She's working out, and it's very like she's suddenly a badass. And then we see Silberman, who is still a piece of crap, and he's showing some students, I think, the facilities, and he shows off Sarah. He's like, "Oh, and here we are." He's showing off his prize. He's like, "Yeah, this is who I made my career off of." It's not great. It's a horrible scene, but then we get our first new scene, which is when Silberman says, "I don't like to see our patients disrupting our rooms like that. You're going to do something. You're going to have to do something about that." That's where the scene ends in the theatrical. But in the director's cut, you have the two orderlies go in and try to give her sedatives, and she's refusing to take them. She's like, "No, I'm not taking them." And they beat her. They hit her with the nightsticks and stuff. They beat her really bad, and they kick her and stuff like that. It's actually, this scene, I can see why they cut it, and it was cool that they cut it, because this was right after finding out that Sarah stabbed Dr. Silberman in the kneecap with a pin. So, and that she is disruptive. You don't need this scene. So, yeah, I can understand that. But the very next scene is something, the next scene in here is something I don't think they should have cut. You have Kyle Reese visit Sarah Connor. She's having a dream, and he is there with her, and he's saying, "Where's our son? He needs you. He needs you to protect him." And she's just like, "I don't know how to get out of here." She's clearly broken, and she can't like fathom getting out of this situation, and she's basically given up, and she's just like, I don't know if I can get out of here. So he's like, "You've got to get out of here." And then there's a scene where he walks out, and she follows him, and she has to run in slow motion because it's a dream. And then we get the scene where she sees the playground and the nuclear bomb goes off. You see that scene later, but in this one, it's different. She's wearing something different, and she's still doing the please move, stop. And then the thing goes off, and that's when she wakes up. You don't see the people blow up. So, in this one, I really think they should have kept that, because it shows it's a character arc for Sarah, because she's playing a strong like woman, but she is still emotionally she's still an emotional wreck. I love that scene. I really think they should have kept that. But I mean, she does describe the dream in the next scene, where you see the thing go off, and then they cut to the part where the awesome part where she is describing the dream, and they look like burnt paper, and then the blast wave hits and they fly apart like leaves, which is, holy crap, it's so good. But this scene is one of the ones that I'm giving the chef's kiss to. Where she is just describing the dream and she goes through it, and it's horrifying. The way that she describes it, they fly apart like leaves, and then he's like, "Yeah, but you know it's a dream," and she's like, "Yeah, he's like, I know it's real. It's going to happen, and anyone not wearing 2 million sunblock is going to have a real bad day." And to me, chef's kiss. It's awesome. You think you're safe and alive. Yeah, you're already dead. You're dead already. It's like great scene showing that she is this is not all there. But we go back to John, and then we actually have another little cameo. We have Nikki Cox. Nikki Cox is a little girl. If you don't know who Nikki Cox is, she was part of a bunch of WB shows and everything like that. But Nikki Cox is in this movie. I saw her, I was like, "Is that Nikki Cox?" And I went and looked up. I was like, "There's Nikki Cox." All right, she's a little girl. And we have the first fight between the T-1000 and the Terminator, the T-800, where they're just going back and forth. We have the first meeting where they're walking through the hall and John's in the middle of them. He pulls the guns out of the roses, Guns and Roses, because they have a song in this, "You Could Be Mine." It was also on Use Your Illusion. But he pulls it out, shoots the T-1000, and they have a full-on fist fight with a great scene where the T-1000 looks at a mannequin, and it looks like him. It looks like it's him made out of liquid metal, and he just looks at it like, it's a good scene. I think I have a picture of it. But I don't know, I might not. So but that whole scene, the entire mall scene, it's suspenseful, it's great fight. It gets chef's kiss, because beautifully shot. I love it. But after that, they escape, and the T-1000 has to go on a search, and we get another cutscene. We get a new scene right after when John calls, and it's like, "Hey, are you all right?" And they trick him with the what's your dog's name? Max. "Oh, what's wrong with Wolfie?" "Wolfie's fine." And then you find out that the T-1000 has killed both the foster parents. This is the new scene, and it's one that I think they should have kept in. The T-1000 doesn't understand what happened, and he goes outside to the dog. I don't like this part, but still it means something. He kills the dog and rips the collar off and sees that the name is Max, and he's like, he knew he's been duped. And then the reason why I think he should have kept it, he walks to John Connor's room, and he scans it. He scans it with his hands. He's just like lightly going over everything in the room looking for something, and he finds a secret thing in the wall with letters from his mother, letters from Sarah Connor. So this is how the T-1000 finds out to go to Pescadero, the mental institution. Even though they kind of fix it later with John Connor saying, "We have to go get my mother," and the Terminator saying he has detailed files, he's going to go there and try to find you. He knows that she's there. They kind of fix it, but finding the letters, because he finds pictures of Sarah, so now he knows what she looks like. And that's a big thing, because he didn't know what John looks like. Do you have a picture of John? And he ends up going down there. I mean, we have the famous scene in the parking lot where John finds out that the Terminator has to do everything he's told. It's like, stand on one leg, put down your leg, and I swear I would not kill anyone. He does that, and the first thing he does is go and shoot a security guard in the leg. He'll live. It's good. But we're in there. The security twin thing happens with I got a full house, and he stabs him in the eye with a freaking. That's gross, but it's great. And there is an escape. It's great. And this scene, another chef's kiss, when they're finally escaping. "Come with me if you want to live," and they're all getting out of there. And the T-1000 finally catches up and walks through the bars. In 1991, my mind went. Like, it was just gone. My mind was dead. great scene. Chef's kiss. Aw, right through the bars. Love it. So, yeah, it's good stuff. But they do a great escape. There's a great car chase. So, yeah, it's fantastic. And then the next, there is another. We go on a row of added scenes. I mean, we're talking about like 10 minutes of added scenes, and they are all scenes that should have been kept in the movie. So the first one is if there's one scene that, well, there's a tie. There's a tie. If there's one scene that should have been kept in the movie, I've got two of them that should have been kept in. But it's this one. And it's one where the Terminator, they're talking about how the Terminator is a learning computer, but it's set to where it can't think very well, and so they have to reset him. And to reset him, they have to open up his head, pull out the chip, and then put it back in, and it resets him, and he can learn and he can become more human because they need him to blend in. And there is the scene, they take it out, but Sarah doesn't put it back in immediately. She puts it down. She's going to smash it with a hammer. She's going to kill the Terminator, and John stops her. And he does have a line in there that says, "He's my friend, you can't do that." But the line that really matters is when he looks her in the face and he says, "If my own mother won't listen to me and follow my leadership skills, then who will?" And it's like fantastic. Should have been kept in the movie. It was so good. Right after that, we get more of the movie, but then we go into another new scene where Sarah needs money. She's like, "Give me some money," and John's like, "Yeah, I have a few $100. I may let you have half of it." And she like steals it, and he's just like, "What the heck?" Like, he's trying to joke around with her, and she's not having it. It's showing that she's not in the mood. Like, she wants to survive. And then they have another scene where he teaches the Terminator to smile. And he does it really awfully. He has a really creepy smile. So that should have been kept in because it was decent comedy. It lightens up the mood a bit. But the next one that was added in, and this is one of the ones that I feel should have been kept in the movie, was a scene where we meet Miles. Or it's like, we don't meet Miles. We meet Miles earlier in the movie where we find out he's a scientist for Cyberdyne. But this is where we find out, and this is the reason why I think it should have been kept, is because it's important to explain the Skynet processors, about how they're learning computers, how with this we're going to be able to fly a plane without pilots and stuff like that. And you learn how dangerous this could be, and that he does not realize how dangerous this is. He's just trying to invent something. We see how close Miles is with his family. He loves his family. He's working on this processor. He's almost done with it, but his wife is like, "Hey, you promised to take these kids to this water park." And he's like, "I'm so close," but he shuts his computer. We find out he is a good guy. And he isn't just some warlord. He's a guy who doesn't realize what he's doing. And this whole scene does it. And I love this scene and really think it should have been kept in. So, I mean, this one's a chef's kiss scene. I'm not giving it. I can't really give it the chef's kiss because it's not a part of the movie. It's actually an added scene. So, I'll give that and the processor thing like honorary chef's kiss. Yeah, But we have another one where another added scene where there's more action in the gun bunker. Where they go down to the bottom of the bunker to pick up, and he picks up the minigun. They're like, "That's definitely you." He has more explanation. John has more explanation of his relationship with his mom and how he was raised. I was raised in places like this, and then everyone else was into Nintendo, and I was just wanting to shoot guns, And it was like, it's this one. There's more one that. It wasn't needed. I can see why it was cut because we get it. John was raised weird, so. It's really good though, but she does have the dream when she falls asleep, carving "No Fate" into the table. It's like "No Fate," even though that wasn't actually said in the first one. Suddenly, the future's not set. There's no fate, but what we make for ourselves is the message. So, but she has the dream of the nuclear explosion, people flying apart like leaves, stuff like that. She actually has that dream, and in the extended cut, it's a little longer. You get more. It's only seconds longer. More people blowing apart and stuff like that. More damage, if you will, and the skeleton part where she's holding on to the cage is a little longer. But I mean, it's either way. So, but we get. Let's see. Oh man, we have. He's got the scene with where like they're driving to get. They find out that Sarah's going after Miles Dyson. This is a new added scene, and when the Terminator and John are chasing Sarah, it's a little longer because she's like, he does say like, haven't you learned why you can't just go around killing people? He says that. And that's where the scene actually kind of ends. But in the extended cut, you have the Terminator go, like, no, but, and they're like, you gotta learn. You've got to learn these things. You've got to learn humanity. And he drives the point home. He's like, we've got to save Miles Dyson. People just can't die. So that one's a little bit longer. And then we get another chef's kiss scene whenever we have Sarah shoot Dyson, goes into his home and everything. And the chef's kiss scene is the arm rip scene where he carves his arm, opens it up, rips it off, and it's the endoskeleton's hand. And because in 1991, my little brain went, because I saw this when it came out, and I was not old enough to see this movie. Oh God, how old was I? I was like 8. Let's see, oh yeah, I was 8. I was 8 years old when I saw this movie for the first time, and then I saw it again when I was like in my teens. I've seen this movie 3,000 times, but I was not old enough to see this movie, and I got to see it. And this is Chef's Kiss. Because when that arm rip, I was like, oh my God, that's a crazy shit. So yeah, they go to the Cyberdyne thing to destroy everything. It's a really famous scene where they pop in there and they start, the Halon system goes off and they have to put the gas masks on, all that. But there is an added scene where the Terminator is putting an axe to all the computers, and Miles Dyson says, hey, can I borrow that? And it's another scene for Miles Dyson. A lot of Miles Dyson stuff was cut that really shouldn't have been cut. And he takes the axe and he looks at the processor, the thing he's worked on his entire career. He's looking at it and he's like, I worked on this so much. I put so much time into this. And you can see it dawning on him that he put so much time into something that's going to kill humanity. And he just, boom, but hits it with an axe and destroys the processor. And it's a glorious scene because it brings Miles full circle, because he is now like with these terrorists, and this is the end of his career. He's done. Like he's probably going to be on the run after this. But it is very cool. But there's another thing, and when the SWAT team breaks in and shoots Dyson, and they're going to stop everybody, and the SWAT team leader, the one that yells "Move out," is Dean Norris from Breaking Bad. That is Hank from Breaking Bad. Very cool. They shoot him, and Dyson has the famous scene where he's holding the detonator to the bombs. It's going to blow up the whole thing. And he drops it. Boom, boom. And and then we get the ever famous escape with "I'll be back," and he's shooting everyone in the leg. He's taking the gas grenade gun, shooting it at everybody. Here, hold this. Takes the guy's gas mask off. It's very famous, very cool scene. I can't quite give it the chef's kiss, but it is very cool. Then we get the final act of the film, where the chase scene, which actually mimics the first movie. They're running away in a car, being chased by a helicopter, which didn't happen in the first one, but they are being chased. The truck flips. That happened in the first one. Sarah's shot. I mean, there has the scene where he's shooting the helicopter gun into the back of the truck, and John's peeking over, but he covers his head just in time to get shot. He's fine and everything. But anyway, the truck flips. They get a new truck, and they're being chased in a tanker. And in the first one, they were being chased in a tanker. So it kind of mimics the first one, and I think it's a shout out. But there is, once we get to the chase ends in the melting factory, and we get our last added thing, and it's another one that I really think should have been kept in, because earlier in the movie we find out that the T-1000 is an advanced prototype, which means he is not the final version. He is a beta test. He is a tested thing, which means he is not complete. And we see that in the deleted scenes, and they're scattered out throughout the end. But when he reforms, he has to start over. So he has the ripple. You see it. It's actually in the theatrical where the ripple goes up. It goes, it does that. You've seen that. That's a glitch. But he does it again when he reforms. It was cut out. It goes, and then he's walking, just trying to keep up with him, and he touches a railing, and he becomes the railing. So now he's having trouble controlling his morphing abilities, and his whole hand, it's a yellow and black striped bar, and he touches it, and his hand becomes the bar, and he picks it up, and his fingers get attached to it, and they stretch out, and then his whole hand is red and black, and he shakes it, and it's back to normal. And then they cut to his feet, and he's walking on the metal grates, and he's becoming the metal grate. His feet are attaching to the metal grate and becoming the metal, and he's just glitching out, and he's over and over again. It's very, very cool, and I think they should have kept it in because it showed that he is now vulnerable. Very, very awesome. But it's the famous the smelting scene. The whole thing is very, very cool, very emotional. The stabbing of Sarah Connor, call to John, I know this hurts. The two fights where the T-1000 absolutely beats the living crap out of the T-800, stabbing him, basically destroying him, ending his life, but he comes back one more time to shoot him with the grenade gun, and since he is vulnerable, it causes a problem, falls into the fire, he melts, the T-1000 melts, it's done, and I need a vacation, so that's a good line. But the chef's kiss is the entire end with the emotion. Because now when I was 8, no, I didn't cry. It was like, oh man, this is sad. When I'm a teenager, 20 years old, watching it, the emotion actually got to me. I've cried at this movie. I didn't last night. I was like, oh man, this is sad. Don't go. I order you not to go. The crying. I know now why you cry, but it's something I could never do. Stuff like that. It's very sad and emotional. It's awful. And there is one thing that people talk about a lot here in that. Why did he not listen to John? He said, I order you not to go. He's forced to do whatever John says. Well, there are two explanations for this. Number one, the T-1000 is dead. Therefore, there's nothing to protect John from anymore. So his mission is accomplished. Therefore, he doesn't have to listen to John anymore. There's actually three explanations. But that one can be kind of poo-pooed away, like me, because there's other threats in life that he could have to protect him from. So maybe not. So there is, when they reset him, they reset his objectives and his mission, so he doesn't have to listen to John anymore. But that can be poo-pooed away because after that scene, throughout the movie, he is listening to John, and it was cut out of the theatrical cut. The last one being that he was protecting John. By killing himself, he was protecting John. He was like, if I destroy this, there's no way a Terminator can come back because everything's been destroyed. So I'm protecting John ultimately by dying. So there's your explanations, because it is something that people are like, oh, he ordered him not to go and he left anyway. That's not what should have happened. But that was it. Chef's kiss to the emotion, to just everything, the thumbs up going into the fire. It's beautiful. Finally, the endings. The ending to the extended cut is much, much, much different. Now, the ending to the theatrical cut shows the road, and they're driving on the road. You just see the road passing by. You don't see Sarah or anybody. It's her narration saying, the future for the first time is unclear, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, maybe everything will be okay, because if a cyborg can learn humanity, then why can't we? Ending of the movie. Now, The extended cut has a finite ending. It has the end, which is you see old Sarah Connor sitting on a bench. She's very old, talking into a recorder, and she's talking, basically giving it. She's like, she has lines like, "Judgment Day came and went. Nothing special happened. Michael Jackson turned 40. Yes, that's in the movie. Michael Jackson turned 40. Michael Jackson turned 40, and I got drunk." And then she goes on, and you see John. He's like, and John went on to be a senator, and he has a little girl, and you see the little girl, and it's her grandchild. So everything's fine. That was the end. It ended on a happy note, instead of an androgynous ending. So you get a happy ending. Now, theatrical cut, the androgynous end, that is the canon cut. So, but that's the end of the movie. And I'm going to go right into it. If you're ready for this, 10 out of 10. DC Cover's first ever perfect score. 10 out of 10. This movie is a masterpiece. Period. This is, if I have a top 5 favorite movies, this is on it. I mean, Gangs of New York's my favorite movie. I love that movie. I love Cold Mountain. And I love Terminator 2, and I love Braveheart. And yes, I truly believe, I know some of you are like, you are insane, but I think Terminator 2 goes up there with movies like Gangs of New York and Braveheart. Like, it's got emotion, it's got action, it's got humor, it's got great characters, good story arcs, good character development. It's even the theatrical cut is a perfect movie. Like, this is just made more perfect by the added scenes. So yeah, man, perfect score, 10 out of 10. I love it. This is beautiful. I just vibrated the whole thing because I slapped it. But yeah, dude. So next up, a movie that is not very well liked, and I'm gonna go ahead and spoil something for you. I don't understand why this movie is hated so much. I actually like it, and we're talking about Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. I saw this movie in theaters, and I thought it was great. I'm like, is it as good as Terminator 1 and 2? No, not even close. But it's still an enjoyable film. But people were just, it has too much humor in it, and and I'm like, I love the action. I mean, to see the machines rise, to see the beginning of Skynet is just, I love it. A lot of people hated the fact that Judgment Day is inevitable, that this movie basically negates everything that happened in Terminator 2. It's like, oh, well, they saved everybody from Judgment Day, but Judgment Day is going to happen anyway. And it's like, it's part of the mythos, man. It's good, but due to Terminator Dark Fate, this movie is... I mean, Terminator 3 is wiped out. So, like, but still, I like it. But that's it. But we're running long. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings and my geeking out of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Please join me for Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Thank you very much. Yeah.